Beyond Skyline. So Beyond Skyline is a sequel, kind of, that I didn't know was even coming around, or I hadn't heard of until recently. I had no idea that it actually had quite a cult following. When I saw the original Skyline, I thought it was a pretty good sci-fi. It was one of those films that left questions to be answered at the end of the films, like a cliffhanger type of film, and I wasn't sure that it needed a sequel, but nevertheless, we've got one. And this film is really unique. Beyond Skyline is a sequel, but is also a standalone film. So if you're a fan of the original Skyline, then you'll know it was a film about aliens coming down, and basically it was a survival horror. You're trying to survive the attack of these aliens that are basically wanting to take over the whole world. And I thought it was an okay film, but I wasn't expecting a sequel. But what this Beyond Skyline does is it tells a story, another story that happens exactly at the same time as the original film. And so you can not have seen Skyline, you can just have watched this film and it won't matter. But if you want some questions answered, then Beyond Skyline is the film for you. So where it left off with the cliffhanger ending, this film answers a lot of questions.
All right.
And so this film has over 1,500 visual effects. It has so many stunts. It has amazing locations. And on first glance, you're a little bit worried that maybe it's got too much going on. But this is where I think the director has been really clever. He's grounded the story in fatherhood. So this film is about a father father and son, who has lost their wife and obviously his mother. And so it starts off with you seeing this father, who's played by Frank Grillo. You've probably seen him in films like Civil War, or
I think I look pretty good, all things considered.
The Wheelman, which he was fantastic in. And so it starts off with him having to go pick up his son in holding because he's started a fight. And so his son's way of dealing with his mother's loss is he's getting into fights, and his way is, he was a detective, is to kind of drink a lot. So his character is kind of like the Bruce Willis character in Die Hard. He's like a badass. He becomes this leader of the pack, and he picks up characters along the way. And the first half of the film is basically your survival horror, trying to maybe survive one moment to the next moment. And then the second half of the film turns into some sort of action, martial arts, Pacific Rim type film. I mean, if I were to try and put films together to name what to expect what you can find in this film, I would say it's Die Hard / Aliens. It has so many genres that are packed in together, and I would say you probably would be worried, like, well, that's a lot to handle. The film holds its own, so there's so much going on, but because it establishes itself that it's basically about this guy trying to be a father in amongst having lost his wife, you are drawn into the characters. I do have to say that the special effects and costume design in this film is fantastic. It's amazing. Considering their budget, the special effects and the CGI and the costumes are probably be better than that of Justice League. Considering how much bigger the difference in budget there is there, I think that says a lot. They've worked really hard to give you a sci-fi film that is believable.
Things are looking up, kid.
Now, that's not to say this film doesn't have issues. There are a few, and I could pull it apart, and I don't really want to do that, because within the first 20 minutes of the film I found that I was really rooting for the characters. I was along this adventure with them. The film follows the story of the characters rather than shoving you in different parts like a Transformers movie trying to follow a strange narrative. The story follows this narrative of these guys on their journey. But I would say that the second half of the film it suddenly changes pace, and it becomes like a martial art film. And it's not cheesy martial arts, it's really good. If you love the main characters from The Raid, then you'll notice some familiar faces here. It's top-notch action, and where this film really helps as well, and I don't know how they did it with their budget, is they shot on location. So you're shooting in LA, and then you're shooting in the jungles, and it's just fantastic. Visually, I couldn't fault this film. There was a couple of shots where there was a baby with a nappy on, and there shouldn't have been a nappy. But I mean, like, the faults of this film are minuscule. This film does what you want it to do. It's a fantastic sci-fi action thriller with badass fight scenes, with really great CG, with aliens that are believable, with a great story that you are on the edge of your seat. You will not know who will survive this film, and I think that's really great, because a lot of the time you can guess, like, point for point for point. Like, literally you can go from, I know that person's going to survive, I know that person's going to die. It's like cliche Hollywood typecasting for their characters. Even nowadays, if you see a certain character, you go, ah, he's going to die. But in this film, it keeps you guessing as to who's gonna die, who's gonna live, and I think that's really fun. That's the way it should be. I think they've done a really great job with this, and you should check it out. So if you're not a massive Star Wars fan, or you want something different, this film comes out, I think, the day after Star Wars, on the 15th. It's out on digital Blu-ray and DVD. I'll put some links below. Definitely worth your time watching this. If you're a sci-fi fan, you are going to love this. Yeah, a lot of fun. This is going in the Gorsome section for great and awesome, because it is great and awesome.
Great!
And awesome.
Awesome!
I've watched it, I think, 3 times now. I watched it the first time just for a classic review, then I watched it with my wife just to see her response, and I think she enjoyed it. Thanks for watching this Ruby Tuesday review. Please put a comment down below. Let me know if you've seen it, if you're going to see it, if you like the original and you're intrigued by this one, and if you haven't joined the Ruby Tuesday yet, please do. You know, if you like this stuff and you found our review informative, then why not keep with the Ruby Tuesday? Thanks for watching. Bye.